Hey everyone, good evening. It's Sunday night and the 22nd. You might see I'm wearing a blue windbreaker. I'm glad I brought this with me. You can't see my head, I don't know why. Let me pop this up. It got a little breezy out here early evening, and the sweaty body and shirt certainly kept myself in a good way. So, just some updates from today to share with you, and where I'm heading tomorrow. So one of the things that was a real challenge today, and I think will be going forward for sure, is the distance between. I thought there was a rule in the United States that said there had to be a McDonald's or a mini mart gas station or some kind of convenience thing within, every 2 miles across the country. There had to be one. It sure seems like that up the Northeast, but not here in central to western Ohio. Today there were probably 14, 15 miles between mini marts, and really tested me a little bit, willpower to get to it and things like that. I had plenty of water, but that's a pretty good walk. If I walk about 3 miles an hour, you figure I stop a couple of times. It's probably about 6 hours between mini marts. So, um, I fear that a little bit that that's going to be more of what I find going across the country from here on out. It doesn't worry me per se, so much as I just point out how critical it is for folks to help me spread the word. And on occasion, sometimes I'll have a destination when I get there. So on nights like tonight, you spend all day walking. You then got to kind of turn on the next switch, which is to be social enough to talk to folks and maybe get them to engage you and give up their floor for the night to you. And that takes some energy. And when you're drained, that's a concern that going forward I didn't really anticipate. And then of course there's kind of the business end of things where, like I said, I got bills to pay at home. I've got email journal entries to write, things, all sorts of things along that line. And I got people emailing me or giving me support, and I like to try to get back to those folks. So that takes some time too that I didn't really plan in for. So it's imperative that I hit the ground running early in the morning, and I get where I got to be. It's also critical for the success of us as a group to ask you folks, I know a lot of you have already told me you have, to reach out to the next destination I'm coming upon, because it just makes it so much easier when somebody kind of has already said, hey, you're welcome to stay here. It's not quite completely random, but it's also not like I'm just reaching out to some app and going from there. So there were a few cool things that happened today to share with you guys. And I shared one earlier on a live stream video when I was doing my midday, and a woman came out just to see how I was doing and asked me how I was, and that was pretty neat. And then one of the challenges of why do I walk the 8 hours a day, the 9, 10 hours a day, and the 20 miles, excuse me, I'm tired, when I'm not really engaging folks, is for exactly what happened this evening. So I was walking down Route 30 in the direction of a town called Hayesville, and there was a house about 100 yards off the highway. And across the street, I heard a woman kind of whistle like a kind of thing, and waved me over. I wasn't even sure she was talking to me. I kind of pointed to me. She said, "Yeah." As I approached the house, she had a couple of dogs, and she picked up the little one, a little Chihuahua, and the other old girl, Maggie. I'm not quite sure what her breed was. She had a blue eye and a brown eye. And she put out a lawn chair for me, and she said, "Hey, can I get you something to drink? Can you charge the phones? What are you doing?" Told her what I was doing. She said, "Well, I just made some dinner. It's a pot roast in the crock pot. Can I get you some?" And certainly said, "Sure." Hadn't eaten since early in the day. So she brought out a bowl, and then the next thing she said was, "Hey, I'm going to go and take the dogs for a walk." Now, she lived on a farm, and I would have always thought one of the advantages to having a farm is to not have to walk the dogs per se. But she took the dogs for a walk. She was gone quite a while. And I guess before she went, her husband's name is Jim, and he had a big barn with a lot of cars. I guess he likes to restore cars. And she had gone up to him and said, "Hey, this guy's outside," and wanted to invite him in for a shower and stuff like that. And he basically said, "No, I don't really feel comfortable with some stranger in the shower. Is welcome to the property," and stuff like that. And I understand that entirely. So as I sat eating this bowl of stew, Kathy had taken the dogs for a walk, and and she was gone quite a while. She came back and said something that was a little puzzling to me. She's like, Maggie got stuck in the creek down there. I was stuck in the creek. All I imagined was it dug up to her knees and, you know, mud and silt. And she said, yeah, there's kind of a little fall off, and she must have fallen. She fell off and she can't get herself up. And she didn't seem to be too panicked by it. Maybe it's happened before, I don't know. But I said, well, I'll walk down and see what I can do to help. And all I did was imagine this dog, like I said, paws deep and probably scared her when I went to go pick her up that had mud and probably my only pair of sneakers I had getting stuck in the mud bottom. But as it turns out, there was about a 3-foot drop off of this little knoll to go into the creek. So I picked Maggie up and set her on the knoll, and off she went, and I was able to climb back up, and I was not dirty at all. But it was kind of neat to be able to go help somebody that had just reached out and helped me. And that's where it kind of, so like I said, you know, you walk 8 hours and people drive by you constantly and nothing comes of it. And then here, late in the day, randomly comes this woman waving to me and saying, come on over, and giving me a bowl of food. And you know, then I get to return the favor by going and helping Maggie get out of the creek. I did go and introduce myself to her husband. Wasn't very, you know, very social guy. You know, was very polite, but just, you know, obviously a quiet guy that keeps to himself. And then Kathy C has titles to 39 vehicles. Oh boy, excuse me. As I said, I didn't sleep much the last 2 nights, so tonight I'll be sleeping pretty good when the time comes. But anyway, so that was today's not very exciting adventure. But it was a good day. I got 20 miles closer to my final destination, and we'll pick up tomorrow where we left off there. If anybody does know anybody that's listening out in the Mansfield, Ohio area, you know, if you could kind of just let them know that I'll be coming through. I don't think I'll be coming through early in the day by any means tomorrow. That's going to be my end destination. I think it's 21 miles from where I am right now. So that's my targeted goal tomorrow, and we'll just play it by ear. So I want to make sure I speak to the kids before they go to bed. Everybody, thank you for following. Sorry that today was less eventful maybe than some of the other days, but still a good experience. And I'm grateful to Kathy and Jim for letting me come on their property and charge my phones briefly and get some dinner and talk to them, get to meet them. One of the things I thought was interesting was Kathy has a 21-year-old and a 19-year-old. So much like myself, she had her kids 39 and 40, 41 years old. So not a young parent, and you know, at the time. So I can kind of definitely bond with her in that regard. That's about it, guys. So not too much. Tomorrow, Mansfield. Holy gosh, please, I'm sorry for yawning like that. But as I said, if you can reach out to the folks in Mansfield, between Mansfield is Bucyrus, Galleon, and then further on towards the Fort Wayne area. You know, reach out to any small local papers, any people. It would just be great to get some more publicity and kind of grease the skids a little bit for helping me get involved and engage with some folks. So thanks, Grace, Kira, Landon, love you guys. Have a great night. Luna, I miss you. I know Miss Marianne is taking good care of you. So thanks, everybody. Have a great night, all right? Take care now.